Welcome back to the podcast. I know it's been a while. It's been like 3 months.
Has been a while.
We got some hurricane stuff went on, and we got busy. We weren't able to make it happen, but we're gonna try to keep doing a consistent weekly podcast. Think that's possible?
With you, no.
Oh, come
I'm
on!
gonna just start doing it by myself.
All right. I'll hit you up on Zoom if I can't get over here. We gotta figure that out because I want to do some more podcasts with guests. I know that's probably really exciting for you guys. Have some fast guys, local guys, come on the podcast, talk with us for a little bit. Landon Lynn's probably going to be one of our first guests on the podcast. Talk to Jack Chambers. He's wanted to do it too. A couple other guys. So that's really exciting, but it's hard to schedule everything together. So I know there's ways to like record it on Zoom or whatever and screen record it. So I haven't figured all that editing stuff out yet, but when I do, we'll start having some guests on the podcast. And yeah. What have you been up to since we talked last?
Been training in the gym and on the bike.
In the gym? Getting swole?
Yes, sir.
Getting jacked? I have been doing the opposite. I haven't ridden much, but I actually been going at the gym the last couple weeks.
Dang.
Yeah, getting back fresh for the season. Gonna race some rounds this year, and
It's 2 whole rounds. He's ready, boys.
we're only gonna have 2 rounds before Christmas. That's
Yeah,
the
we
thing.
are.
So
It's kind of
unfortunate, but at least we'll be able to like ride just for fun too,
Yeah.
without having to worry about prepping for races and stuff. But yeah, all right. Well, today's topics, or first off, I want to say if you guys have not already, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, check out our website, local-moto.com. We got all kinds of products on there, and an announcement I wanted to make a couple weeks ago, but we didn't do a podcast, is we now have merch. I'll kind of put that up here in the middle. We got bucket hats, we got shirts. Was that it?
I don't know. I might have to cop myself some, though.
Yeah, I gotta get myself some too. I haven't ordered samples and stuff yet, but I'm working on that, and that's really cool. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll have the link down below. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on any of our audio sites like Spotify or Apple Podcast, you can check that out on our website or our social media. And yeah, anyway, today's topics we're gonna talk about Supercross, World Supercross. Talk about say what?
Motocross the Nations.
Yeah, Motocross the Nations just happened, which is really exciting for us Americans for obvious reasons. But a lot of exciting stuff going on in the moto and off-road world these days, kind of like mid-season for most of this stuff. And here locally in Florida, our season's about to start, so we got a lot to talk about today. So hopefully you guys enjoy. What do you want to start with?
I don't know. Should we start with MXON? Because it's a big
Yeah,
kind of topic.
let's start with Motocross the Nations.
And then we'll kind of trail in Eli for a second.
I think Eli would be a great topic.
Okay. So, Motocross of Nations, that was a pretty big one for the U.S.
Yeah.
We got the Pit Bike of Nations,
What?
and we won Motocross.
I
of
didn't see the
Nations.
Pit Bike of the Nations.
Apparently, the Pit Bike of Nations was just as big as the Motocross.
I don't even
of
know what
Nations.
that is. All right.
It's at Redbud.
Okay, it was the same
Mixed
weekend.
it.
Oh, okay.
And all the teams have pit bike riders, and we won.
Oh, dude, I didn't even know that. I gotta go back and watch that. If any of you guys have watched that, leave us a comment. Tell us how that went. But yeah, MX the Nations was obviously it was like 11 years since we won last or something. 10 years.
Yeah, we did very good this year. Chase Sexton, Eli Tomac, and Justin Cooper. Justin Cooper was a bit of an underdog coming in.
I think he's been like discounted hard the last few seasons. Couple injuries and just hasn't been like the results in our regular races.
The last couple rounds of pro motocross though.
Yeah.
So he does have a bit of a chip on his shoulder because he didn't get to finish where
I think he felt like he was like people were discounting him, not thinking he was going to do good. He came out
9 and 4.
Yeah.
Fourth with the fourth
in the open. Yeah, so everyone was in the cut, which is crazy.
That's crazy. They had a 250s up there.
Yeah. Oh,
behind Jetson, Matt, Guada. I don't even know.
You could literally name like 100 dudes that you would think would.
Chase Sexton was the man in front of him.
Yeah.
So that's a huge name, obviously, to have right in front of you.
Also, having it at Redbud's just like the coolest thing ever. It's like the most American track, maybe besides like Southwick, but like.
Yeah. No, I think Redbud.
Yeah, it's got it. It's like the most American track to have it in America. Like we know people that went, and I was like, it was just super super cool, and watching it on TV was crazy. And talking about, I mean, the Australian team too, though. I mean, we have some riders
and the
from
French team.
the French team. Yeah, Brandis got hurt, didn't he?
Well, no, Joe Shimoda got hurt.
Oh,
on our
okay. That's probably what
for Japan, but
yeah, poor Joe.
Dylan did crash multiple times, and definitely they could have been in more contention if they had
Because
a little bit less mistakes.
Muscan rode pretty consistent. Lucian's like my favorite, right?
They just needed a little bit less mistakes. Ferrandis took a pretty heavy one, and I think he took 2 crashes, one in the first turn and one mid-moto, kind of while he was leading.
Yep.
And that kind of penalized him a little.
Yep, the Lawrence brothers for Team Australia obviously did fantastic. They pulled up second place, right?
Yes.
Overall, yep. So Australia with the second place.
Wait, maybe third.
Maybe third?
I think it was third. I think it was the US, then France, then Australia.
Gotcha. Yeah, either way, though, really commendable effort. Like, that's crazy, especially for their first time doing it also, right? So that was pretty cool. And then I want to talk about Team Netherlands, man. I mean, for the past years, they've been so dominant.
Well, they lacked Jeffrey this year.
And we saw this time that it was without Jeffrey Hurlings, they didn't have anything for a lot of these guys.
Jeffrey is an insane rider, obviously, all around.
Yeah.
He can ride anywhere.
I'm surprised that he opted in for the ankle surgeries. Uh-oh. That's okay. At least it told us.
But we can edit it.
Oh, yeah, easily. Just start it again.
We're back up rolling again.
All right, we're back. Anyway, without Jeffrey, they just weren't what we were used to seeing them. So I kind of thought they were going to be still contenders because they had some really good guys. Cade Wolf was on, or is that how you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's Cade Wolf or something.
Yeah, that dude's insane. Like the nasty scrubs I see on Instagram.
Very talented.
From him, like that's crazy. But yeah, Team Netherlands obviously didn't do.
We had a stacked year this year, though.
There was a lot of teams, even Team Japan, like with Shimoda. I was like, man, they're like contenders. You know, Shimoda came out so hot in the last few rounds of pro motocross. Shimoda was the guy. So unfortunately, he got injured at MXON Nations, but hopefully for a speedy recovery for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, MXON Nations always a good time. Obviously, hope America can do good next time. If you had to pick your optimal 3 guys for the team, who would you pick?
I'd honestly probably leave it how it was this year.
Leave it how it was.
They were if TOMAC still in his prime, Sexton. And Sexton wasn't comfortable in my opinion. I watched Sexton ride and I don't think Sexton was his normal Sexton. It was a little slick, the track was a little funky. I think Sexton wasn't normal and he still was able to be in contention to win.
What's funny about the track is I know they had to make it capable for like B and C riders also because the day before there was like the B and C MX of Nations. So it was like, kids that cannot hit Larocco's leap.
Yeah.
110-foot jump or whatever it is. Like so a lot of this stuff was like it was different from our normal pro motocross round.
Yeah.
I think it kind of threw some guys off, but I think my optimal 3 would definitely be TOMAC. I like Sexton a lot. I think he was like a perfect pick this year, but I think he could be interchangeable with Anderson for our team.
Disagree.
No, but Anderson, the last time he did it before he got landed on, was winning.
I think Sexton's you watched it in outdoors. Sexton just
Sexton's the guy. Sexton's the guy, but I think Anderson would be a good substitute. If if Tomac retires.
I agree.
I think Anderson would be the next guy.
Yeah.
And then I liked Cooper for the 250s, but I also would have liked Christian Craig too.
I don't know though, but Christian's been used to that kind of 450 now. He's been riding.
They both would have been fantastic. So.
Yeah. I think Justin though was a very solid pick.
I'm trying to think other 250 riders. I'm like Michael Mosman.
I think Justin's more consistent though.
I agree. Michael Mosman's not consistent.
He's fast.
Really fast.
But not consistent. We watch him.
It's funny.
He consistently crashes though.
He's consistent at falling, unfortunately. Yeah. Not talking trash about any rider. We could never do what they do, but
for sure.
You know what I'm saying. Like if you guys watch it, he does sometimes crash a lot. But
yeah.
I'm trying to think in the 250 class, there's not that many American guys.
No.
Like the top guys are Jet, Hunter, Joe. So those 3 guys are international.
And then Justin.
And Justin, is up there. So yeah, that's interesting.
Should we go to TOMAC?
We got to talk a little bit about TOMAC. TOMAC's been the guy. Let us know what you guys think. Do you think he's retiring after this Supercross season, or you think he's going back at it? I think his contract just for the Supercross season?
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure it is too. So, is he gonna renew a contract for outdoors, man? I don't know.
It's pretty crazy though that he won Supercross, Motocross, then he won MX of Nations, and then he just won World Supercross.
Yeah. No, he's pretty much like dominating everything.
Yeah.
And the most impressive part is that he's staying healthy.
Yeah.
Like, even at his age, like, obviously he's not like some crazy old person or anything like that, but like, in the sport at that age, it wears on you a lot. And for him to still be like in contention and winning races and like consistently doing it is like absolutely insane.
I think he's a very calculated and smart rider though.
Oh yeah.
And he prevents those mistakes when he sees
Yep.
stuff that could go wrong. I think
I agree.
dials it in and figures out a way where he can switch it to fit his comfort zone.
He's so
where
mature.
He can still be up front.
Yeah, he's mature in his riding abilities, and he knows now what to do. It's like not worth pushing here, or it is worth pushing here because if he gets hurt here, like he's all about the end goal of the season. You know, like making sure he makes it.
It's honestly a little bit like Ryan Dundee a couple years back.
You're right. Yeah.
Very smart, calculated, didn't make stupid decisions.
Mistakes. Yeah, you're right. Tomac may have fallen over once the entire motocross season.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think he really ever crashed.
But we see Chase with all the raw talent Chase has and how fast Chase is.
Chase is lights out faster than Tomac.
I wouldn't doubt it. But Chase had those mistakes.
Yep.
Where it was Paul of the last round, right? Fox Raceway?
Yeah.
Yeah. He went down 3 times in the last moto.
Yeah.
And we didn't. Eli, I don't think Eli was pushing because he knew what was on the line. He let it come to him, and Chase was trying to force it. And that's where those mistakes
and that comes with the maturity and the experience. Like Chase, although he's been riding forever, and like obviously he's a pro 250 rider for a while. And obviously he won a championship there, right? Yeah. So it's not that he's like foreign to the whole thing, but like Tomac just has so many more years on him. You know, he knows the game plan, and especially, you know, the team and everything that he's on. Like, they've just been dominant lately.
Yeah.
I think also a lot of it with, like, Tomac staying healthy was we don't really know his full, like, training routine. Like, we know, like, the Baker's Factor guys. Like, we know what they do.
Yeah.
You know, it's been, like, public knowledge. Like, you pay your $100,000 a year, and... Uh-oh, camera's going off.
It's fine now?
Yeah. I'm glad it tells us that. All right. Anyway, you pay your $100,000 a year, whatever it is, and you get this training, and you know you're almost guaranteed a championship. It seems like. But with Tomac, it's like we don't know. We know he does a lot of biking and stuff like that, but I think a lot of the stuff with staying healthy is what he does off the track.
I think part of it's his dad too, because obviously John was a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Cycling.
I think his mom was too, right? Yeah.
Well, the whole family is super athletic, no matter what.
For sure.
And I think from his dad's experience, he can kind of. We see Tomac, he uses his dad to help him.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He doesn't push his dad away, which is kind of cool. You know, he has his dad come in, his dad helps him.
Yeah.
His dad's at the track watching him.
Yeah, they live like right down the road. Yeah, exactly. It's a pretty cool dynamic that's like, it's so different. Like, he's up in Colorado. Everyone else is either in SoCal or here in Florida. So it's like, he's just totally different vibes from everyone else when it comes to training. And I think the way he goes about it is... At this point, it's way part of his success, yeah. And people are like starting to catch on to it. Like Anderson's now in like New Mexico, doing all the training and stuff, and so I think that's pretty cool and a little different. Tomac's one of my favorite riders, so I'm happy to see him do well.
It's cool to see Tomac do.
But I don't know. When do you think he's gonna retire? You think he's going for the?
I think after the Supercross season, I would not be surprised if he retires. I mean, look at how successful his career's been.
Yeah.
There's no need to push it to an extent where it's to the point where it's risky, super risky.
Yeah, because I mean he's got the rest of his life in front of him, and I feel like he's one of the guys where when he retires, like you think of someone like Adam Cincerella, like when he retires, he's probably gonna be like an announcer. He's involved with Fox. He has the hydration company.
Definitely stay on.
He'll definitely be like involved. But Tomac, I feel like he's gonna retire, and dude's gonna go live in the mountains and like be with his kids. I feel like he's not gonna be that involved. Like once he's gone, he's gone.
These guys, it's sad to think about it though. Watching think about when all the guys like me and you, well, you've already gone through it more than I have, but like you probably grew up watching guys who are done now, and like I'm growing up and I'm watching Tomac and Sexton. When they retire, it's gonna be
Yeah, you're like, what else? Yeah, what is there to watch anymore? It was like when for me when I started watching it pretty young, it was like it was Ryan Villapoto and Ryan Dungey, and those were the guys.
I even remember watching it because my dad.
Yeah.
We watched Monster. I remember watching Monster Cup. This is one of my like few memories from when I was way little. I remember being like 4 and sitting with my dad and watching Monster Cup because I was sick and we were just sitting there and watching Monster Cup at 12 at night.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how much it like affects us, you know. It's like even now, like I don't watch every single round like religiously, but like I'll go back and like I'll watch highlights on YouTube or I'll like go look at the results, like even if I don't have time to watch it, but like I watch pretty much all of it.
Yeah, it's fun to watch.
I love the outdoors too. The outdoors to me are like the premiere, like the way it's filmed, or way it used to be filmed. This year it was awful because of all the switching of like how to stream. I hope you all get that together for this year, but besides that, like
It got better.
it did get better throughout the season, but like just like the mass extremes of the track and how hard they have to push and like 40 riders on the gate.
Yeah,
like,
me and my dad were talking about it. Our tracks are starting to be to the point where they're even more gnarly than the GPs. Because I've been watching a lot of GPs, you know, too.
They're always known for having the gnarliest track.
I remember like 2 years ago, everyone was always like, oh, the GP's way gnarlier than our tracks. But now I'm watching it and I'm like, our tracks are gnarlier.
Yeah, well, I think it kind of like having back to our topic about MXON Nations, like having all these European guys who race MXGPs come over to race an American track. It's like that track gets brutal.
Yeah.
Like just like their tracks. See, I think it is a little different. You have places in Europe where like, the amount of rock in the track is very different and the elevation is very different. Yeah. So they got these crazy like uphill jumps that are like super rocky and you know like their suspension's different. Like we even talk about Antonio Piroli.
Unlimited over there. Yeah. We watch or the mods are very controlled over here. You have to go and do all the testing. They have unlimited. They can do what they want.
Yeah, so like it was when Caroli came over and raced a few rounds of the Motocross this season, he was complaining about the frame, how dead the frame was at the KTMs over here. And I'm like, I was talking to him, I'm like, what does that even mean? What do you mean the frame is different? It's the frame on a KTM, right? Well, over there, for the MXGPs, they have completely different frames on their race bikes than we do over here.
Yeah, because
so it's like a little bit
restricted.
Yeah, you're not allowed to change that part of the chassis here. You can do whatever you want, like in the motor and crazy stuff like that, but like we're not allowed to do that frame changes and stuff like they are over there. So he came over here and it was like he wasn't used to it. You know, that was part of the reason he wasn't like as good as he thought he could be, I think. But I didn't even know that. I thought that was a crazy fact, actually.
All right, shall we do a little segment on some of the rider changes? Yeah. Like this year, and Craig, for example, Craig going to Husky. Yeah. 2-year contract with Husqvarna.
Well, I was surprised it was a 2-year contract.
Yeah, not just a year. I think Craig, if he dials it in, I think Craig could be one of those guys.
He's a top 5 guy. Yeah. For me.
I think he could come in here. I think he could be a bit of Mookie at a couple races. He could be leading. Yeah. I think we could find Craig, with how good Craig's starts are.
You're right. I didn't even think about that.
And one thing we need to watch is, so if you think about it, remember how good of a guy Mookie was on Yamaha and whoops. Yeah. He went to Husky, his whoop speed decreased.
You're right, decreased.
So if we watch Craig come from a Yamaha...
Where his whoop speed was crazy, just like... 250. Yeah.
You're right. His whoop speed decreases. That's a big noticement for
those guys. And what's funny is I think the Austrian brands, so KTM Gas, Husky, are phenomenal motorcycles, obviously, in many parts of the track, but they've always seemed to not be as good in the whoops, and I think it shows with...
It'll be proven this year, though.
With Cooper Webb not being good at the whoops. Marvin not being great at the whoops. He's rode KTM his whole career.
The Husky's okay through the whoops.
I think a lot of they're catching on to it, and they're making these adjustments, and then it obviously won't be public, and we won't know for sure, but I think they've caught on to it, and they're making adjustments to make these bikes more competitive in the whoops. Especially, like, half these rounds have, like, 2 20 whoop sections.
Yeah.
It's like a freaking quarter of the track is whoops. So,
Especially West Coast.
yeah, especially the West Coast round. So it's like, especially those hard whoops from the West Coast rounds, it has to be able to perform.
And then we have another kind of veteran, Jordan Smith. He went to Star Yamaha. Star Yamaha signed him.
Yep, that was
It'll be
cool.
interesting to see what he does. And we have another guy,
Styles Robertson.
Styles Robertson went to Yamaha too.
I think he's got
name.
a ton of potential. I hate talking about or thinking about like those young guys and how many of them are going into the industry, like how hard it is to become the one, right? To become the Tomac and the freaking Dungies of the time is just like impossible, right? Mm-hmm. So you have guys like Styles Robertson, Michael Mosman, like you could say like 10 different names of these really young guys that are all really competitive.
Nate Thrasher.
Half of them will probably retire in the next 3 years. They're not.
If they don't make it.
If they're just there's only so many pro contracts.
That's a big part.
And if they're not making, like we saw, Matthew LeBlanc.
Yeah.
He roads for Star Yamaha. I think they kind of pushed him going pro.
Privateer guy now.
Well, now not only is he privateer guy, but he's working a regular job. He said he's going to take a break for a little bit. Not that that's wrong. I actually think that's good, and maybe it'll help invigorate him, and he'll come back stronger.
That'd be awesome, because he's a legit dude.
Right, but see, I think that's going to happen with a lot more of these guys.
Yeah.
Pro contracts are going to be locked up. They're going to have to go privateer, and they're just not going to be able to make the money to make it happen. The industry's not big enough, and there's only so many manufacturers to have pro teams, and I don't know. But yeah, so Jordan Smith was cool. Styles Robertson going to Yamaha, it's going to be good. I think he has a lot of potential to be good.
Big change there.
Roxon, for one, was a massive change, yeah. He went from, obviously, Honda HRC to now he's on Firepower Honda.
If he comes out and wins...
Bro, I'm not even watching anymore.
If he comes out, I think it's possible. After I saw his World Supercross speed...
He got second.
He had 2 terrible starts. Came back to second.
Yeah.
Then he was leading the first moto and fell, which some people are going to be like, oh, it's just because he doesn't have the talent. That's not why.
It happens.
It happens to everybody.
Yeah.
I bet you're a local C-Class rider, you're going to fall one time.
Yeah,
It's not.
I thought he was impressive on the new bike also.
Dean Wilson, another big one.
I feel bad for Dean. He got AC separation at World Supercross. Yeah. It's just like he's been through so much in his career, and then recently with the foot peg up the butt thing, like that was brutal. I was so bad.
Though
he said
from this and go, because it didn't seem too major.
He said it was a light AC separation,
and hopefully he can come and recover because he's on that Firepower Honda now too.
Yeah,
he's Ken Roxon's teammate. Really,
that's a stacked team.
Really, 2 huge names. Now
Dean Wilson's not going to be going and getting top 5.
But he'll be a consistent top 10 guy.
Yeah, he'll be that 11th place, 12th place, 9th, 10th place. Like
I think Dean could do better than that. I think Dean could be a 7th place guy.
I also just like Dean's such like I've heard from so many people.
Good person.
I've met him once. He's a really good guy. Camera's going off. I feel like it lasted longer that time.
It's probably because there's like no motion.
Yeah, you're right. I wish there was a way to edit that off.
Alrighty.
Yeah, so with Dean Wilson and Ken Roxon going to Firepower Honda, like that's a big change, obviously. Husky was able to give Craig his ride, and then Honda, they haven't announced what they're doing yet, right? Or have they? Are we missing that?
Well, Jetson, their big plan is to bring Jetson up and Jetson be their next big guy.
Well, so he's going to 450 after the Supercross season.
Yeah.
Yep. So he's going to defend his championship in Supercross.
Try.
Yeah. Go to 450 outdoors.
Yeah.
So we know they'll have Sexton. Sexton and Jet in 450s at that point. But for now, for the Supercross season, do they only have one 450 rider? Is it just Sexton?
I think so. It's a bit of pressure in a good and bad way because they can put their focus into one guy instead of having 2 big guys.
That's true.
But bad way, or like
their name's less out there for one. As a manufacturer, you want you want all your riders doing good.
And if something, I hope nothing happens, because I hope nothing happens to any of these guys. But if something happened to Sexton, they have no 450 guy.
You're right. They'd be pulling someone like Jordan Ashburn, or not Jordan Ashburn, someone like Jordan Smith or whatever, who's always like a fill-in rider. Like they would bring him up from the privateer team to ride or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of pressure in a way. But then, like you just said, with the clout, look at all the clout firepower Honda just got from Ken Roczen
and Dean Wilson. Yeah, their Instagram following probably like, whew.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
Because I think Ken has over 1 million.
I don't know, but hopefully Ken does good. I don't think he's going to be a championship contender this year, but I think, there's a chance he'll be a top 3 guy. Definitely top 5 guy. He's just that good,
Ken Roczen has a lot over 1 million. 1.5 million followers on Instagram, and that's probably 700,000 at least who saw him move to Firepower Honda.
Maybe. Yeah, a lot I'm sure went over there, but yeah, I don't know the difference what's funny is there was like talk about how he was trashing the Fire Honda bikes before he was on the team or whatever.
There's talk about everything.
I know. I don't know if that's confirmed.
Dean Wilson 764K on Instagram. So he's another guy that's over 2 million people who follow these guys. Way over 2 mil.
Yeah, that are now exposed to Firepower Honda. Yeah. And I like the idea of these privateer teams becoming more competitive. It just brings more competition to the sport. So it puts pressure on these factory teams to be better, to make it better, to have more riders, to make the bikes better and all this different stuff. I think it's just good for longevity of the series. And who else? What are the other big teams like that? Like there's like the
Firepower is like the Hep's a pretty big one.
Yeah, you're right. Suzuki. That's their only Suzuki team right now. I would love to see Suzuki come back and have a factory team. You know what that would do? It would relieve a lot of these teams and a lot of these younger kids that are looking for rides. It would make it a lot less pressured.
Yeah.
Even if they just did, a 450 and 250 riders or vice versa, I think, you could get one guy that's new and then a couple old guys looking for a ride. You could put in a really solid team, especially backed by a company as big as Suzuki. Like, I don't know the whole story of why their factory team went under originally anyway, but obviously the bikes aren't superior to the other bikes in the circuit, but I don't know.
Hopefully.
I think it would be cool.
Alrighty.
I don't know. I think it's probably going to wrap it up.
That is.
That was a good podcast, I thought.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said before, go ahead and hit us up on Instagram.
214 Lincoln.
And Jacob.Berard.
Yeah.
And
any
follow
questions, any topics, ideas, any ideas?
Hit us up with all the ideas. You guys can comment down below if you're watching this on YouTube. Hit us up on Instagram DM. Let us know any other topics you want to talk about. Any brands that you guys want us to work with. Going forward and sell on our website. Go ahead and let us know.
Too on some stuff.
Opinions, yeah. You guys think Roxon's going to do good?
Or just with anything in general, because some people have a lot of questions, even just to the basic. What
for sure
helmet should I wear? What?
Yep.
And me and you have both worn
a bunch of helmets.
Our fair share of helmets, and we have
crashed in a fair share of helmets.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually did a podcast doing some helmets and stuff at one point. I'll have that
first or second one.
Yeah, maybe in our second podcast. So I think this is our fifth or sixth podcast. So.
It's our fourth.
Fourth?
Or maybe fifth.
I think it's our fifth.
Yeah.
Our fifth podcast is pretty good. So hopefully we can get some people on the podcast with us, and
hopefully at the races we'll start getting a good amount of people to come in.
One thing I really want to do is one day when the company gets big enough to afford this, I would like to set up like a booth on Vendor Row. Like one of those big tents. It's got like our logo on the tent and a banner and then some tables. Mm-hmm. So we can sit there and do the podcast on Vendor Row. In between races and stuff. Like people could come up, ask us questions, and like we could have like free stickers and stuff to give out, and our guests could sit right there right on Vendor Row.
Alright, y'all hear all these plans. Go.
Yeah, subscribe, like, what are you doing? Alright guys, I think that's gonna call it for today. That was pretty good.
Alright, I'm Lincoln Bischoff.
I'm Jacob Berard, and we'll see you next time.